Okay, this is the second video clip for the online meeting of March 24. And I want to talk about the implementation of transportation security policies in freight railway. Okay, so compared to mass transit and passenger rail systems, freight rail systems, they have even less attention from US federal government. Okay, so for this part, the major security goal of TSA is twofold. The first part is to reduce the risk associated with something called dangerous cargoes. And the second part of the goal is increase resiliency of the railroad network, which means ability to recover from damage, from attacks, and also maybe from destruction. Okay, and talking about dangerous cargoes, the most famous category for dangerous cargoes is something called TIH, toxic inhalation hazard. So TSA wants to reduce the risk from TIH by what? By identifying and reducing the risk posed by the transportation of them, and especially when they are transported through densely populated urban areas, or in other words, big cities. Because if they are leaked or if they're released in populated areas, a lot of people will be harmed or will be killed by TIH. Okay, so specifically, TSA, which means DHS, right? TSA is a part of DHS. TSA and DOT jointly, they made 27 security action items for the rail transportation of TIH materials, okay, including system security, en route security, access control, etc., different regulations and guidelines. And also, there are recommendations from TSA to decrease the amount of time spent in high-threat urban areas by rail cars carrying these materials, which means that if you are a contractor, your company is responsible for transporting of TIH. Basically, you will be recommended to go through an urban area during the night when people are staying at home, right? And you will be asked to go through an urban area as quick as possible, right? The shorter time you spend in an urban area, the lower risk you will bring to this area, to the people living within this area. And also TSA, they produce a lot of reports and assessments. Okay, it's a key part of the TSA's approach for freight rail security. They they do assessments and they produce report. In this report, they assess risks to various parts of the sector, of the freight rail sector, and several risk assessment mechanisms have been developed toward that end. The first type of reports, or let's just say assessments, is called RCA, Rail Corridor Assessments. They assess the vulnerability of high populated areas in different rail corridors, right? Specifically to TIH materials transported by rail. So these assessments, in order to carry out them, in order to produce reports from them, you have to use different teams from TSA, railroad, and state and local homeland security officials, right? So this is a very comprehensive operation, and to reduce RCA. And it is based on metropolitan areas within important rail corridors. So far, several several metropolitan areas, they have been evaluated, they have been assessed, okay, by RCAs, including Washington D.C., Northern New Jersey, Cleveland, Milwaukee, here in Columbus, and several other metropolitan areas. The second type of this security assessments is called comprehensive reviews, CR. They provide even they provide assessments even at even higher scale, higher geographic scale. They provide a thorough evaluation of the security of a specific rail corridor instead of some big cities in a rail corridor. Okay, so and usually a rail corridor covers 2 or even more states. So it's not at local level or city level, it's at state level. And a comparative analysis of risk across transportation modes. So it's not only for railroad or freight railroad, it's for multiple transportation modes. And the critical infrastructure sectors, hardwares in the specific geographic areas. The third type is called corporate security reviews. You can tell from the name, it's a review for company. Okay, so specifically review of a company's security plan, procedures, and provide the federal government with a general understanding of each company's ability to protect its own dangerous cargoes. So this is more like a report of overseeing. TSA, federal government, they want to know how different companies protect and secure their own cargoes. And the last type of TSA security assessments is called critical infrastructure assessments. So they're basically for hardware such as bridges and tunnels, identify security vulnerabilities of important bridges and tunnels, okay, as well as recommendations for mitigating such vulnerabilities. And also another important implementation of land transportation security for freight rail is something called Terrorism Risk Analysis and Security Plan from AAR, which is Association of American Railroads. It's not a very long plan. If you search it online, you will see a PDF document of only 2 pages. Okay, it serves as a national plan for the industry and also a template for security plans for individual carriers, which means if you are responsible, you are owner of a private company, you want to make an analysis and security plan for railroad terrorism, you can just use it as a template, right? And it also uses threat and risk assessment to address 5 major functional areas, including hazardous materials, operational security, physical infrastructure, military liaison, and information technology. Okay, so it's a 2-page document, and there are several components of this terrorism risk analysis and security plan. First one, a database of critical railroad assets, right? This should be included in your plan, right? So this is an intelligence part of the plan. And railroad vulnerability assessments, analysis of the terrorist threat. But I mean, analysis of the terrorist threat, it is not something can be carried out by a company, right? At least you should be a local government to do this thing, right? Because a small company doesn't have the ability to collect intelligence for terrorist threats, right? And the risk calculations, this can be done by different stakeholders. Even a company can do this, right? Identification of countermeasures to reduce risk, and functions of the AAR operations center and railroad alert network. So AAR is not a government agency. It's an NGO, non-government organization. So you can say this program or this tool for for freight rail security. It's not from the government. It's not from the government. It's from business world. And next, I want to talk about a little bit about highway infrastructure and motor carriers. How TSA implement transportation security policies on them. So there is a specifically there is a branch of TSA responsible for security of highway infrastructure and motor carriers. It's called HMC, Highway and Motor Carrier. So their tasks: first, reducing the risks through enhanced preparedness to provide security and resilience to the highway transportation system, right? Security and resiliency. Okay, that's always the first goal of transportation security related agencies, right? Secondly, enhancing security awareness and information sharing with public and private security partners. So they're trying to improve people's awareness of transportation security, and also they're trying to collect and share information and intelligence with different stakeholders at various scales. And finally, evaluating and reporting on security efforts and resource management. In other words, what? Assessments and reports, right? And also DOT's Federal Highway Administration and Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, they are working with TSA, with HMC to secure the safety, to secure the safety of highway infrastructure and motor carriers. And specifically, security-related functions performed by HMC for highway infrastructure include cooperates with TSA to assess bridge and tunnel vulnerability, right? Bridges and tunnels, they're also important in highway system, not only for railway, right? And developing risk mitigation measures. And ensure state and local highway departments are prepared to respond to attacks on the highway system. Okay, make sure that they have the awareness of attacks, and they could happen anytime. They should be prepared for that. And also administers the emergency relief program, which means the recovery plan for highway infrastructure. And also last, provides information to relevant stakeholders through a variety of programs. This is about information sharing, intelligence exchanging among different stakeholders, okay? And for specific motor coaches, like buses between different states, between different cities, TSA focuses on the security training of bus employees, including ticket agents, right, bus drivers, and personnel for the maintenance of different infrastructures, right? And also, TSA developed something called Operation Secure Transport. It's a voluntary computer-based interactive training resource designed to provide instruction for industry employees. It's about how to recognize security threats and respond to security incidents. So this Operation Secure Transport is an online program. And yes, thank you. That's the second part of this online meeting. So I think there will be another video clip to finish this whole lecture. Okay, so see you in the third video clip. Thank you.